Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name's Freedom. Thank you for joining me. In tonight's or today's episode, I wanted to talk about how narcissists or sociopaths or psychopaths test their victims. Because there is a definite kind of criteria that narcissists and sociopaths are looking for in their victims. But before I start, can I just remind you, if you like my videos, please remember to like them, subscribe to the channel, and to help me grow the channel, share the videos on social media. It would be fantastic. All right, so let's get down to it. There's a few different things that we are looking at. There are some things that you have and some things that you do not have. And this is the key things that the narcissist, psychopath or sociopath, from now on I'm just going to call them narcs because it's a lot easier. So this is the key things that the narcissist is looking for. So I've got some notes here. So if I'm looking down to the side, that's what I'm doing. All right, so more often than not, they are looking for people who are known as empaths. So people that, are sensitive people that feel a lot of compassion and empathy for other people. This particular trait is actually used against us by the narcissist. So what you think as an empath, is a good quality, this, empathy and, care and concern for another person, actually gets used against you, because in the situationship, hello, Mr. Fox. Hello, buddy. This is Mr. Fox. In the situationship, what ends up happening is the empath will, empaths are used to equal partnerships. That's what they think partnerships should be about. That's what most healthy people think relationships and partnerships are about. But for a narcissist, there's always narcissists at the top and whoever their partner is below. There is no equality. They're kind of like this. They've got this dog mentality. Everyone is either above or below them. There is no equality with narcissists. So these empathic traits that suit us and do us so well in normal, healthy relationships will actually be used against us in our relationship with the narcissist. So, hello, Jen Mack. Thank you for joining me, darling. So the common kind of themes, I suppose, that the narcissist is looking for is someone who, they do look for, before I start, they do look for people that make them look good, right? So if you've got skills, talents, you might be very beautiful looking, you might be, have a, beautiful body, you might be quite accomplished, you might have a really good job, you might have some kind of prestige about you. So they like that kind of thing. They like things that make them look good. But all of that kind of superficial stuff aside, the underlying themes that they are looking for in all of their victims is a lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth, and self-value. And the reason that they are looking for those particular traits is because, hello, darling, is because this is what makes you pliable. This is what makes you easy to manipulate. If you have low self-worth and low self-esteem, you are more likely to put up with the bullshit than someone who's got healthy self-esteem. If someone's got, a good sense of themselves and what they are worth and, and their value, those are the people who are more likely to say, oh, fuck this, I'm out of here. But when you've got low self-worth, it's easy to cling on to something thinking, oh, I'll never find anyone who loves me like he loves me, because the narcissist will be telling you, you'll never find anyone who will love you like I love you. So, if you have low self-esteem and low self-worth and self-value, that is the kind of thing that you will actually be thinking and be manipulated into thinking, that you'll never find anyone like him, that no one understands you like he does, Or the kind of even more sinister stuff, like, this is all you're worth. This is what you deserve. Why would you think you deserve anything better than this? And the problem is, when you already have low self-esteem and self-worth, the longer that you're with a narcissist, the more they reinforce these self-beliefs, the more they reflect that back to you, in your relationship, where you're not being treated with respect and you're not being treated as though you have any value. So it's quite easy to continue to internalize these messages, which suits the narcissist so well, because they don't want you empowered. They don't want you knowing your value. This is often why they will put people down. So they'll put their partners down. They'll deliberately attack the pain points, the sore spots, the things that that you're a little bit insecure about. That's what they'll go for. When they're going to play with your mind, when they will deliberately bring down your self-esteem and self-worth, that is the things that they will target. So whether it's, you might be insecure about your looks, you might be insecure about your intellect, you might be insecure about, I don't know, the amount of kids you have, whatever it is that you're insecure about, they are the points that the narcissist will work on, because they're already there. Those pain points are already there. And it's like, when you got a sore in your mouth, and the more you touch it, the more it hurts, but you can't help touching it. Well, narcissists are like that. They get so much pleasure from hurting us. And when they know our pain points, they just keep on pushing that pain point, and it gets them so much fuel. So the low self-esteem, low self-value, and low self-worth, that's quite easy to identify as well. The narcissists are very quite clued in, I suppose, to things like social mannerisms, body language, gestures, facial mannerisms. The things that, for example, someone walking with their kind of eyes down a little bit and a little bit shy and reserved, that shows in their body language compared to someone who's kind of defiant and looking and shoulders back. So the narcissist is not looking for someone with their shoulders back and their head up and their sense of self-worth. They're looking for someone who's little and meek and scared and damaged, and I don't really know, I don't really know how everything works. Maybe you can show me, that kind of weakness. That's what they're looking for. They're also looking for someone who has no or poor boundaries. And they will test that. They'll test that quite quickly, actually. And it might be little things that they do, but these little tests have big implications. So if they're testing whether or not you're going to be primary supply for them, they're going to put you through these different little tests. So one of the kind of tests that they'll do is they'll test, your boundaries, your physical and your emotional boundaries. For example, they might touch you in some way inappropriately, or do something that, if you had good self-esteem and if you had good boundaries, if they did it, you would say, don't touch me like that, or please don't touch me, don't do that, whatever. But if you don't have good boundaries, and if you're used to people transgressing your boundaries, you will accept it. So that is one of the things that they'll be checking. Subtle stuff, really subtle stuff. Invading your personal space is another way they kind of check your boundaries. Because same thing again, if you have good boundaries and if you've got good self-esteem, you're going to actually say, would you back up? Or you'll physically move yourself out of their space. So for the narcissist, they're looking for someone who allows people to transgress their boundaries, their physical boundaries, and also their emotional boundaries. So it could be, and not just emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual boundaries, all boundaries. Any boundary that you put up, the narcissist will want to test, see if there's a way that they can break through that boundary. But in the beginning stages, when they're testing you out to see whether or not you are primary supply, whether or not you're actually going to, service their needs, they are looking for someone who they can control, someone that's easy to manipulate, someone that doesn't stand up for themselves, someone that has low self-esteem and low self-worth, someone who's more inclined to say, oh, I'm the problem, because that's what they want. They want someone to take the punishment, because they're so angry, they're so unfulfilled in life, they're so, envious and jealous of the world. So they're kind of brooding all the time, and they've got all this angst and anger. They want to take it out on someone, So one of the things they're looking for in their primary supply is a whipping boy. So they're testing you to see, are you going to let them? Are you going to let them take out that abuse? Are you going to let them blame you for things? And the more you stay and the more you put up with their abuse and their blame, and, the more you take their physical violence, the more they're going to dish out, because that is servicing their needs. And it's really quite sinister when you think about it. I mean, the whole thing is actually really quite toxic and sinister. The final point that I wanted to make is that with the narcissist, one of the key things that they are looking for is someone who has no family or no support. Or if you've got family, they're looking for someone that's got kind of strained family ties, or family who is interstate, family who's overseas. They want someone who's isolated from the herd. Someone who's actually literally, physically removed from the people around them, or is able to be physically isolated. So they want someone that they can pull away from the herd and brainwash, basically. And you can't brainwash someone who has got strong family ties. You can't brainwash someone whose dad is literally going to come around and say, what the hell are you doing with my daughter? You can't brainwash someone who gets on the phone to debrief with her mother, every night or every week or whatever. So they're looking for people who have damaged family relationships or no family ties at all. So if you've got no family, you are the perfect primary supplier. And if you check all the other boxes, I mean, it's like heaven on a stick for a narcissist. One other point, just quickly, is even if you do have family, if you tick off all the other boxes, what they will do is they'll quickly work on getting rid of the family support and the supply that you get. Sorry, the family support and the support that you get from friends. They want to cut all contact with those people. So they will triangulate. They will tell outrageous lies. They will back you, and they'll say, I can see why you don't want to spend time with your family. They just don't believe in your dream, or they just don't get you, like I get you. So they say that kind of thing, and that, that kind of sounds like it's supportive, kind of, but it's not really. It's just being used to isolate you. Hello, and the bit goes on. Hello, Jen Mack and Ms. Diet. They never change. Yeah, any hope or dream that they'll change is the mistake of mistakes. It's very true. Yeah, it's very true. This is oh, there goes my alarm. I'm gonna have to get going, guys. I didn't realize I hadn't turned that off. I'd love to keep talking, but that's just going to keep ringing until I go and answer it. So I'm going to finish this live now, but thank you for joining me, darlings. And yeah, look, stay in touch. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye.